here, and I was up there 15 years ago with my mate Mick Thomas from When He Spotted Anything from Melbourne. We were doing some gigs around the area. We were wandering through Whitby after a few beers, and we saw this little alleyway. And when I saw the name of it, I said, Mick, you've got to take a photo of me under this alleyway sign. Look at it. And he said, that's you, that is. Arguments Yard. And I said to him, if I live long enough, Mick, and I write my autobiography, it's going to be a photo of me on the front cover, standing underneath that little alleyway. And the book's falling to bits now because I've been doing so many gigs with it. But so it's got our favourite, saviour gaffer table around it. But you can see Arguments Yard. It is absolutely kind of part of me. The whole kind of idea of disagreement. And there you go. Anyway, I'm going to start by reading the very last chapter with the one that I never thought I was going to have to write. I'd finished the book, and then this happened. So that was that, right? You signed off, Atiila. What's all this about? I had indeed signed off. The final pre-production checks were just about to get underway. But in a truly poetic coincidence, almost the very day I finished this book, I came face to face with the fundamentals of life. Given that this is my autobiography, I very much wanted to include that experience here, along with a rather silly poem and a very serious message. I've always been blessed with pretty good health. Loads of cycling keeps me fit, I don't smoke, and apart from a bit of high blood pressure, a cycle-related broken leg, and a football-related torn hamstring, I've been pretty fortunate through the years. But in the early months of 2015, I've been having some pains and weird feelings down below. And on my second visit to the doctor, blood was detected in my urine, and I was sent off for tests. Kidneys fine, huge sigh of relief. Prostate fine too, another one. Then I was told that I needed to have a flexible cystoscopy. Do you know what a flexible cystoscopy is? I certainly didn't, but I soon found out. A camera was going to be set up my knob to have a look at my bladder. I'll be able to see it on a big screen in front of me if I wanted to. If I wanted to, I never missed seeing any of my TV appearances and wasn't going to start now. I'm used to people taking pictures of me, but it has always tended to be an essentially external experience, given the very small space the camera was going to have to go through. I did hope they weren't intended to send an entire outside broadcast unit up there, complete with sound crew and a ubiquitous fluffy mic. Dr. Bong answered my questions calmly and reassuringly. Some anaesthetic was shoved up my helmet. A wire was inserted into the very heart of my being, and amidst considerable discomfort, the show began on the big screen. First, a voyage up a little tunnel. That's your urethra. With deference to Kraftwerk, I nicknamed the camera the Trans-Urethra Express. And then into a wide cavernous space, pinkish in colour. Here's your bladder. Those holes lead to your kidneys. Pink expanses. So that's what my bladder looks like. Hang on a minute, what's that? A horrid-looking, dark, veiny eruption. Then another, and another, and another. They aren't supposed to be there. I know that. Bloody hell. We'd better get some pictures of those, said Dr. Bong. I went into that clinic for reassurance and came out with an extremely sore willy and the news that I may well have bladder cancer. I needed an operation. The Trans-Urethra Express had to return as soon as possible, equipped with a ray gun to zap the tumours and a bucket to bring out some samples for biopsy. And I was booked in for an abdominal CT scan to find if the nasties in my bladder had spread anywhere else. My whole world turned upside down. It was only by sheer effort of will, with Rubina's fantastic support, that I managed to turn it the right way up again. I'm 57, I thought, not 20 anymore. I've travelled all over the world, done nearly everything I've wanted to do, and just finished my autobiography. And whatever happens, whatever I am told, I'm a strong, confident person and will fight this to the bitter end. I want to live. I pissed razor blades for a few days. I had the abdominal scan the day after the fucking Tories had won the election with their 38%. The wonderful care I was receiving made me even more passionate about the NHS and angry at the bastards cutting its funding in order to fund weapons of mass destruction. I then had to wait for the results. Everyone says the waiting is the worst part, and everyone is right. But at the very least, I knew that I'd gone to the doctor as soon as I felt something was wrong. Fear of waiting for the news is one of the main reasons why people leave seeking a diagnosis until it's too late. I was booked in for my operation on May the 11th, 2015, and it was while waiting in pre-surgical reception that day that I received the news that my CT scans were normal. At least one bit of you is, said Rubina with a huge sigh of relief. The operation, called a TURBT, transurethral resection of a bladder tumour, went well, and I was discharged that evening, sore but in good spirits. Then another awful wait, pissing not just razor blades but sulphuric acid as well, followed by the biopsy results. Superficial, low-grade skin cancer in my bladder, thoroughly zapped. Another transurethra express in 4 months' time, just to check all is well, and as long as it is, once a year from then on. Caught early, hopefully at the end of the matter, though of course I can never be sure. I have one message for you all, especially for blokes of a certain age who tend to get embarrassed about such things. If you're feeling strange down there, don't put it off, get your knob out for the dog. In general, if you're worried about your health, get yourself looked at. You owe it to yourselves and to a wonderful and under-resourced NHS. And of course, I've written a poem. I hope that it quite literally becomes the first ever knob poem to save lives. It's called Candid Camera. I know that I can sometimes be a loudmouth, stroppy prat. I know I'm a control freak, and a bossy one at that. My wife says when I'm eating, I am a total slob. I'm still not sure that I deserved a camera up my knob. The poor thing shrunk away in fear till it was hardly there. A tiny little pimple in a nest of pubic hair. The camera made its entrance, the pain cut like a knife, and then I saw my bladder for the first time in my life. I'm glad that it went up there, though sad of what it found, but it can come back any time to help me stay around. So 3 cheers for the NHS and for that camera crew. And if you're feeling odd down there, you get it checked out too. Cheers. Yeah.